There we go. Good morning, Facebook, and good morning, everyone. This is Marc Hamm and Tom Bartholomew. We are doing a seminar today about web design. We're going to talk about SEO as well as e-commerce. Tom, jump on the mic and let them know who you are.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Glad to be here this morning. My name's Tom Bartholomew. Like you said, I'm from beautiful northern Michigan, and I do marketing for contractors, specifically people in the skilled trades. I build websites, search engine optimization, and Google Ads management. And all of that means is I help them generate more leads for their business online.
Sounds good. And everybody needs leads. Everybody needs traffic, website traffic, and more customers, more business. It just cracks me up sometimes. People build the website, and I just saw one the other day. A friend of ours, actually a client for the real estate, said, "Hey, I just built my new website. Check it out." And I already knew before I looked. I said, "What's up with the SEO?" And she said, "Yeah, they want me to pay for that. I didn't do that." And I'm like, "You do know a website without SEO is like not having a site, basically."
That's right. There's a great statistic that I read that really resonated with me is only 10% of all websites, and there's billions of websites, 10% of those ever make it to the first page of Google. That's why we need SEO, is so that way we can be one of that 10%, because without SEO, if you just build a website, it's not like the movie. If you build it, they won't come. You have to you have to promote it. You have to do that search engine, get backlinks. You have to, do on page, off page SEO, which I'm sure we're going to be talking about here shortly.
Oh yeah. All right, y'all. We're going to get started. We have a few questions. We're going to do kind of a Q&A, asking each other questions and answer them in great detail. And if you have questions that you like to ask and you're on Facebook, you can feel free to drop them in the chat of the Facebook, and we will read them here, and one of us or both of us will answer those questions. All right, y'all, we're going to get started. This is Marc Hamm, Tom Bartholomew with a web design seminar starting now. All right, Tom, I've got a question for you if you're ready.
Absolutely.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do
Good.
it.
All right, Tom, first of all, how do you approach the user experience in web design?
Oh, user experience. This is something that a lot of people talk about. It's also referred to as UX or UI, depending on, what part you're looking at. But user experience is really that experience that a person has on your website. Are they able to navigate it easily? Are they able to find the information they're looking for? Are they able to Some people use a screen reader. They tab through your website. Can they do that without getting stuck somewhere, like on a image carousel or something like that? You gotta make sure their experience is good. You don't want to have a lot of pop-ups. A lot of pop-ups will kind of make the experience bad. I know when I'm looking at a website and a pop-up comes up, I don't like that. Sometimes I'll leave, I'll bounce. So user experience is really, like it says, the experience that the users are getting on your website.
And let's expand on that, Tom. You know, a lot of clients, they want to put like that sale thing as soon as somebody, reaches their site, they want something to pop up at them. Do you encourage the pop up, or how do you handle that?
Well, I like to discourage that as much as possible. Of course, the customer is always right, but sometimes I like to guide them into the right answer, and it's not to have a pop up right away. Pop ups are useful for certain types of promotions or giveaways or things of that nature, but we just don't want to have a bunch of like when you land on a page and a pop-up jumps up, that's very intrusive. That really, we go back, that ruins your user experience. So you want to make sure that they're able to scroll through the page, and if you are going to have a pop-up, maybe on exit intent, right? When the person's getting ready to leave, maybe having a pop-up at that point.
Sounds good.
How about you, Mark? What do you do with the what's your approach to pop-ups?
Yep. Same here. We tell the client just flat out. So we have a different saying over here. Like you said, the client's always right. We believe the client's not always right. I grew up in my father's shoe shop, And he used to tell them that says Jerry Shoe Service out on the building. And so we do have that philosophy, and we let the client, we have a relationship with the client that we just speak truth to them, keep it real with them. And if something's not right, we just tell them. And so we'll let them know. And we get that all the time. They say, hey, I want this pop up to advertise this and do that. And we go, that might not be the best way to do it. On some people's machines, it might be blocked. They may never see it. They may have an outdated machine or something, and it doesn't flow correctly or doesn't move properly. Bandwidth issue. Sometimes it's a video, maybe it doesn't load. So we're like, let's put it on the homepage, but in a different way. That way it'll always be there even after they click it off.
I think that's a great solution. Having maybe not a pop-up, but maybe a little section that has that promotion or special or whatever it is they have.
That's the old, hey, I want music on my site. And you put the music on the site, and after somebody comes to your site 3 or 4 times, they're like, again with the music, or music on every page. I'm like, let's just keep it to a bare minimum. You got to think of the person coming back more than once, that they just get tired of having to click something off.
Yeah, I tell customers that music, I don't put music on sites. That's really intrusive. Unless if they're really insistent, then we'll put it so the user can click to play.
Right.
And not an autoplay. Hey, I got a question for you. How did you get started in the web design business, Mark?
Man, that is a great question. I'll see if I can make it a short version. Oh, I forgot this is our seminar. It can be as long as it wants. I'm gonna go back to when I was 13. I was 13 years old, and I was in class, like in elementary school, and computers were just kind of really coming out, and programming languages and that sort of thing. And they found out I was gifted. And so when I would go to class, the teacher would put me up in her chair, test me, and I would get a perfect score on the computer test. So she would leave and go on break and go, you run the class. And so, some kids hated, that I'm running the class, but I tested, like with a perfect score. So that was the kind of like the first little mountain that we got over, that said, hey, this kid might know a little something. And so at 13 years old, my parents and that same teacher talked to my parents and said, hey, this kid's got something. They sent me to college. They sent me to a computer class at a local college, community college. And so on Saturdays, I'll go to this computer class and I learn programming. And you remember those games with the blip, and the blip go across the screen, come back. It was called basic. And it was 10, run, 20, do this, and 30, so on and so forth. And so at 13 years old, I got certified to do basic programming. And years went on, I got into graphics, Corel Draw, all that good stuff. And in my 20s, I landed at Citibank on Wall Street. And I had been, working for Citibank, doing bank presentations. And, maybe 6 or 7 years prior to landing on Wall Street. And so I was the expert. I knew Mac and I knew PC for all Microsoft Office products. And so I come in kind of as an expert, until I got in the web design group. I landed in this web design group, and it was a team of 18 people. And I was for lack of a better term, secretary or admin. And in this web design group, it was my job to order the machine or the server that they're going to build a website on. And that's actually how I got started with the web design. Little did I know, each of the 18 individuals on the team were going to teach me what they knew. And so that's how I got started, Tom.
Well, that's pretty good. I remember when I was in school in the same time frame, and computers, like you said, were coming out. And I remember programming on an old Texas Instrument a game of, a word game, like when was Abraham Lincoln's birthday? And if they got it right, it would go to the next question. If not, it would say try again, if this, then that type stuff. And yeah, it was really fun. That brings back some fond memories.
Nice, man. I remember the Texas Instrument, handhelds, and I mean, don't go back to Commodore, because that's what we had in that class I was talking about, Commodore 64s and all that kind
Oh,
of
I
stuff.
remember those too. Yeah.
Hey, let's talk SEO, Tom. What role does SEO play in your web design process?
Well, first of all, I love SEO. Search engine optimization is what
Say
SEO
say
stands for.
say it again, Tom, because they didn't hear you.
That's right. In fact, it was right on the top of my screen there for a minute. Search engine optimization, right? Search engine optimization, SEO. And we were talking about this a minute ago, but it goes to say again, only 10% of all websites ever make it to the first page of Google. And they say that only like 10% of people ever scroll past the first page of Google. So if you're not on the first page of Google, then people aren't going to see you. They're not going to click on your website. You're not going to get leads. You're not going to get business from your website. And when I'm building a site, I don't just build it. The first thing I do is I do keyword research. I find out which keywords are people really actually looking for. Are there, is there one person looking for this? Is there 20? Are there 1,000 people searching these terms?
Mhm.
And then I get a list of terms. I just use a Google Doc
Right.
and I find the keywords that have the high volume, maybe, low competition if possible. And I focus on utilizing those in a natural way, not stuffing. We don't keyword stuff like we used to. I use it in a natural way, those keywords, using them in the title tags, H1. We got to have a H1 title tag on every page. And that really tells Google exactly what that page is.
Right.
So you want to make sure that's optimized. I see a lot of people, they want to use something real fancy and something, and they'll say, oh, I want the title of my page to say, we're really good at we'll work for you. Well, nobody searches for will work for you.
Right.
They're
Right.
searching for roofing contractor in Muskegon or whatever town,
Mhm.
right? So that's what you need to use. Is you need to use a keyword that really describes what your business is, and that's really the main focus that I use when I first start building a website. That's really the key, is just make sure I got the right keywords.
And Tom, are you doing this yourself, or do you hire a writer to write that? I mean, how's the process running?
Well, I do a lot of the writing myself. Once I find the keywords and I get that list, when I'm writing pages, I do have a hired writer, and I pay $19.95 a month, and his name is Chat GPT. Now, I use ChatGPT a lot. Now, I don't just set it and forget it or use exactly what it spits out, because it doesn't always give you the right information. And
Right.
especially since I work with contractors specifically, and over 40% of my customers are actually roofing contractors. So I'm really familiar with that. I was a builder. I've done a lot of roofing myself for 20 years. So that's really why I focus on them. And I use ChatGPT, which is an AI, artificial intelligence, for those that don't know, and I use that to help me outline and put things in a good order that would make sense. I have it
Right.
help me come up with really good title tags, H2s, H3s. I
Mhm.
help it. Uh, One thing that's SEO also for accessibility, which means that anybody, kind of like the ADA, right? Accessibility for web design, is I make sure every single image has alternative text,
Oh yeah.
alt text. And that will actually help with your search engine optimization too. So those are things that I use my paid writer AI to help me with.
Nice. Nice. Very, very, very well done, man. I mean, if you don't have that, it sure is not picking up on Google and all the other search engines.
Absolutely not.
Good
So,
stuff, Tom.
Mark, why do you, I, you told us how you got into web design, but why did you choose to do it as a profession? You were working at, you probably had a good job at, they probably paid you a lot of money there. What made you decide that, I want to do my own and start a web design company?
Man, this is 100% true answer. Um, I had I had worked for corporate America, on Wall Street. I got tired of Wall Street after 9/11. I didn't want to be in New York anymore. And so I took a job in New Jersey where I lived, so I could be close to home for my son. And hated the job. I won't even say the name of the company, but I hated the job. I just did it, keep the lights on, pay the bills, and me and my son just taking care of things. And so I knew I had to have surgery on my knee. I had torn meniscus and loose cartilage in my knee, so I knew I had to have surgery. And so I told my boss at the job I hated in New Jersey, downtown Newark, won't say where it is, on Broad Street. Um, hey man, I gotta have surgery, so I gotta be out for a few months or so. And they didn't want me to progress from my position to a head web designer. So they didn't like me, I didn't like them. It was a mutual agreement that I leave, but with benefits. So they were going to pay me for the rest of the year while I had my surgery. So I could be at home, still getting a check, and not have to worry about where money's going to come from. So it was perfect way to leave a job. So I had my surgery. I'm at home. My son's at school, and I'm in what's called my computer room at the time. And I'm sitting at the desk, and I actually just prayed the same prayer for a year, which was short version of the prayer was, Lord, give me a job where I can stay at home. If I'm ailing, I was talking about my knee and the surgery, if I'm recovering, allow me to be able to work from home and take care of my son. And please make it a job that uses my computer abilities, talents, and abilities. And I prayed that honestly for a year. I even wrote it down on a piece of paper. I wish I could find that paper and frame it, because that's exactly what I do with working from home, and started Pro Web Firm back in 2005. And so, and it was just a prayer answer. I didn't know I would be a web designer working for myself. I had no idea. I knew I had skills, I had graphic skills, I had programming skills, I had a fashion eye, because you kind of need to put stuff together and make it look right when you're doing web design. Most web designers are front end only or back end only, meaning graphics on the front or developing on the back end. Very rarely do you see, both put together, like Tom and myself. And so that's how I got started, Tom. That's why I got into business, is so I could take care of my son while he goes to school and take care of the bills, while recovering from surgery. That's how I got going.
I think that's a great story, and a great testament to having, that positive attitude and power of prayer.
Yeah.
What a great thing that brought you to that. Awesome.
Tom, if can you share a case study, actual case study of where your web design, significantly impacts a client's business? Can you break it down for us?
Yes, I actually have one specifically in mind. It was an electrician, and his business was in the Greater Toronto area of Canada. I'm in Michigan, so that's like right next door to me,
Right.
and specifically in Markham, Canada. And he was a brand new kind of a startup electrician, just got his license and everything. And of course, the main keyword to show up for was any variation of electrician in Markham. I mean, that's pretty standard. That's what people, if somebody's looking for an electrician, they usually type in electrician in their city. So there was a lot of competition there. And we built the website, brand new domain, which Google doesn't favor very well. They like age on a domain. The older your domain, the more it's trustworthy, right? That means you've been around. So brand new domain. It didn't have Markham in the name. It did have electrical, but not Markham. So we built the site with the focus of making sure we got to the first page within 6 months. Well, this is a pretty hefty feat sometimes,
Yeah.
especially Markham and the Greater Toronto areas. There's a lot of competition there.
Mhm.
So what we did is we focused on making sure we had the right keyword optimization right away. So, like I said, the H1, that title tag, the biggest letters on the top of the website, first thing you see was electrician in Markham. And we came up with a content plan. So we were publishing a new article that was helpful and useful for people, for homeowners, because that's who they targeted, residential. It was helpful and useful per Google's guidelines to make sure that within that 6 months that we were going to show up on the first page. Now, I never guarantee this because obviously Google does what
Yeah.
Google wants,
Yep.
but we continued to work. We created articles between 1,000 and 2,000 words. Nothing real specific. It's not like we hit 1,000 words and stop. We made sure that it just made sense, that it was a good, useful, valuable article that people would really gravitate towards and want to read, that would give them information. And within 4 months, we were ranking on the first page of Google, not in the number one spot, but on the
Right.
first page for 3 different keyword phrases.
Wow.
All, you know, electrician in Markham, Markham electrician. I don't remember exactly what the third one was. This was last year, but within 4 months now, this electrician, because as soon as we got to that 4th month and he started showing up on that first page, his phone started ringing and he
Yep.
was ecstatic. He couldn't believe how I was able to get him to the first page of Google, because I told him it was going to be, 6 to 8 months, maybe
Yeah.
12 is kind of
Yeah.
the expectation I was setting, but we were actually able to do it in 4 months. I was a little surprised too, but it really worked, and it's really about content. You
Yeah.
got to put that content out there.
Um, this client that you're talking about, the electrician, where is he now? What is he doing now? Is he happy? Is he moving
Oh
and
yeah,
grooving?
he shows up for a lot of different. We don't work together anymore. He. That's one thing with SEO is sometimes they think no matter what you say, once you get them to the first page, I think that's it. And in a way, it is. SEO, it lasts, right? It's a long-term investment. So he worked with me for a little over a year and decided, his business was going. He was getting plenty of jobs, more than he could really even handle. So he decided to cut back on his SEO spend. But it was really that content that got us there. And that content is still there today. If you write content and what the industry, and you might know this, is called evergreen. And
Yeah.
what that means is it lasts. Whether you read it today or you read it in 5 years from now, it still is pertinent and makes sense for that industry.
Good stuff, Tom. Man, I think about all the times, we get clients that are like, hey, we need to get on the first page of Google. I want to be up there the first. And you have to set expectations that, hey, you're talking about a monster in Google to get you on that first page based on your competition without paying for it. Now that's a tough one. Now, if you're paying, you can kind of adjust your budget. And when I say paying, I'm talking about like pay-per-click ads.
Sure.
If you're paying, that kind of solidifies, hey, we can get you there based on a bigger budget and you can compete with the big dogs that are on that page. But to do it organically through good SEO, and you need to pat yourself on the back for that, Tom. And he need to give you a tip or pay you some extra.
Well, we worked together for a good long time, and he was very happy. He gave me a nice glowing review on Google and everything. So it was great. And I'm glad you said that about, the pay per click or, ad spend for doing Google ads.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You can get to the top
Mhm.
if you pay enough.
Yeah.
But the difference between ads and search engine optimization is as soon as you stop paying for those ads, you don't get any more traffic.
Yeah.
Whereas search engine optimization, like I said, once he stopped working with me, that kept going. He
Yeah.
kept getting leads. It kept generating traffic to his website, even though he wasn't paying for it and I wasn't doing anything for him. So that's the
Nice.
big difference between SEO. I tell him SEO is like investing in the stock market. You don't expect to get your returns tomorrow, but down the road you are.
And when you get your returns, you can put them in the bank or spend them or withdraw them or do whatever you're going to do with them.
That's
But they
right. That's right.
last. Hmm.
Mark, what there's a lot of different platforms online that people build their websites on. What platforms do you use to build websites?
Great question. We do custom web design, and which means we build on any platform. We build on Wix, WordPress, Shopify. We can do straight HTML, PHP. We can do Drupal. We basically can build on whatever platform is most comfortable for that client. And so when we get a new client, we ask them right away, what web design platforms have you heard of? What are you familiar with? And we'll also ask them, do you want to maintain the website yourself or do you want us to maintain the website? And if they say, we want you to maintain it, then we'll build it on our preferred platform, which is just straight PHP, HTML, PHP.
Mm-hmm.
And that way we're going to maintain it. We build it to our standards of how we want to maintain it. We know how, the back end. If they're going to maintain it, we may suggest something like a WordPress site, depending on what their products or services are. Or if they're just straight products, then we go to Wix or Shopify. And the good thing about Shopify is you basically can run the website from, your phone or cell phone while you're mobile. And Wix now has a app that goes along with the website. So when people are out on the go, they can run their whole business from the app. They never have to sit in front of a computer. So it just depends on what the client's needs and wants are. Will solidify what the platform is. And we don't really care what the platform is. We build it to make them happy.
Awesome. Awesome. That's there's really generally two ways that web designers choose. And one is to do omni platforms to, what works best for the customer so they can work with whoever they want. And others like to focus on one. It was interesting. You said Drupal, I tried to start in a web design firm back in 2008. And that was the platform I used was Drupal.
Ooh,
Super powerful,
ooh,
but
ooh.
yeah. I only use WordPress and Elementor now because I work with mostly service-based companies.
Yeah,
And the reason that I like to work with one as opposed to many like you is then it lets me become an expert with that system.
yeah,
But both approaches are very valid, and I've had to turn away customers that say, "Hey, I want my website built on Wix," and I say, "Well, I'm not a Wix expert.
yeah,
That's not what I spend my time on." So I'm going to recommend Marc Hamm to help you with that. So
yeah,
so I take a little different approach, but I think both are very valid.
yeah. Well, let me ask you a question, Tom. How do you stay updated with the web design trends and technologies?
The trends that change every week. No, yeah, that's a great question, and I think that it really comes down to that desire to be better at what you do. And I have a lot of desire to continually grow. And probably the main way, which I do a lot of things, I read books, I read online forums, I try to follow in, different web design Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, and try to stay active in there. So I'm learning all the time. But I would say the main way that I stay updated is by listening to podcasts, industry experts
Mhm.
that are talking about web design and marketing, search engine optimization. I like to listen to those. So that way I stay updated. And the nice thing about it is I can throw in my earbud and I can go for a walk and I can listen to it. I can listen to podcasts while I'm in the shower, when I'm driving my car. So I just love podcasts. It really keeps me updated on all of the newest design trends. Now, what is a trend today was probably a trend two
Yeah,
years ago.
yeah.
So when we say trend, it really is a lot of that. Now, there's a lot of things that are just solid basics. I really try to just, mostly I try to stay away from trends and focus on things that work.
That's really good info there, Tom. Back in the day, there was a programming language called Flash, And I was like this Flash expert, like I could design a site in Flash, make stuff move and all kinds of
It was
stuff.
pretty, wasn't
It
it?
was really pretty. And they even did templates for Flash where you could
Mhm.
customize the template and make something really funky. The bad thing to Flash, in which you were talking about keeping up with the trends and technology, the bad thing about Flash is it's not recognized on these search engines. They don't pick it up, they can't read it. um so it's like Wix used to have these Flash website templates, and people go, man, I want that. That moves. I want some move and shaking. I want some Flash to it. And we would say that's not what you want. And when we tell them why, it's because the search engines are not picking it up. The Google's not picking it up. It's not going to play it. You're going to lose SEO and ultimately lose business. And what looks good is not good for you. They didn't want to hear that. So thank goodness they have changed Flash into now a programming language in PHP where you can still program the same amount of movement or similar, and it's picked up, it's readable. Like we do a big thing where the pictures fade one to another in the main slider. That's our thing. That's like our go-to thing. And we used to do it in Flash. So we had music playing, stuff moving, pictures fading, people running here, clouds shaking. And I remember we did one for a kickboxing company, and it had a rap song with it, and boxing ring, and just all kind of. And it's so outdated. Like 2 years later,
Mhm.
it won't. You can't even read it. I pulled up an old site, and I'm looking at it like, man, it was good for its time. And so you do, to your point, you do have to keep up with trends and technology, because if you don't, your site is outdated like as soon as you build it.
Yes, definitely. And I remember the Flash, the Flash trend, and I remember this guy that I knew, and he was all about Flash. He's like, "This is the next big thing. Every website's going to be Flash." And just a
No,
couple
it's
years later, he was
no, it's
struggling.
not.
Yeah, it's really sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should. And that was how I think what happened to Flash is I think people just put so much Flash into it and so much moving and all this stuff that it was really kind of intrusive. We go back to that
Yeah,
user experience,
yeah,
jump on a website and it's flashing at you. Well, that could cause seizures for some people. So,
yeah, yeah.
it really wasn't a great user experience. And it really, like you said, it kind of went away. You don't see Flash websites anymore.
Man, think of all the money. I think of the money I spent on just that program, because Flash. It's kind of like Photoshop. Every year, a new version would come out.
Yep.
The Adobe products, and now I don't even know if you can find Flash if you wanted to.
I, it's pretty outdated. I don't. It's kind of
Yeah.
antiquated software programming
I,
language
I
now.
even had a guy working for me back in the day. That's all he did was come up with custom Flash
Right.
animation. At first was those pictures I was telling you about where
Hmm.
they, change from one to the next, and now we do it in PHP.
Yep. Heck, now you can do it in Wix.
Yeah, and
you know.
and get it read through Google.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. Mark, you had talked about earlier Shopify and e-commerce. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you would do? Do you build e-commerce sites? And tell us a little bit more about that.
Yep, we sure do. So when COVID hit, pandemic hit, a lot of people realized that they wanted to be online and they wanted to sell some kind of products. So we got hit with a whole lot at one time, and we got more. We used we used to do more Wix, but Shopify, they kind of go back and forth of which one is more user friendly. We try to stay with the one that is more user friendly, because the end user ultimately has to be able to run it. And so we still do our custom design to these templates that you'll see in Shopify or templates that you see in Wix. We'll design the website the way that they want it to look, and we'll do it in Photoshop. We'll do a screenshot of it, and then we'll program it into, say, a Shopify. Shopify really is built for the beginner, the polished business. It's built for everybody. And so we go in and customize it so that it'll run the way it's drawn up on paper, but it'll also be functional and very simple. And so we look at one thing. When people have 10 products or 1,000 products, we ask them, are you going to continue growing your products, or do you have a set number of products that you want to stay with? That tells us all we need to know when we build it. So we always build a little ahead where someone is, and we'll build it for the 10 products and let them manage that. But in the back end, we've set it for, say, 100. Same thing with 1,000, we'll build it for 5,000 or 10,000 to make it easy for them, make it easy for them to duplicate a product and set it. And so we'll take the first 10, put them in, set the description, the SEO, the hashtags, the pictures, and then, as you say, do the SEO with each one so that once they launch, it's like a new business has been around for a while. That's the kind of trick we do with Google, is to show, and we got Kurt Roscoff jumping in. We'll let him in. But we do SEO on either Wix or Shopify, doesn't matter, so that their site isn't just brand new, like starting from scratch. Hope that makes sense to everyone listening.
Yeah, I think that you explained it pretty well. I like that. I don't do a lot of e-commerce just because, again, I work with service-based companies, but I do a few, and I'll use two different platforms. I really try to use Shopify. It's just really, like you said, they can edit it from their phone, add products, see their billing, their customers, who's ordered, all that stuff. And the nice thing about Shopify is they have a widget that you can incorporate right into WordPress.
Right.
Works great with it. The other platform I use is WooCommerce. Now, I know a lot of people try to stay away from it, but it's really works really well native with WordPress again, and that's really the platform that I try to stick with.
Welcome, Kurt, to Mark. I almost said my wife's name. I'm so used to talking about real estate. Welcome to Mark and Tom's webinar, seminar on web design. Hey, Kurt, go ahead and unmute and say hello. And Kurt, I don't know if they can see you on Facebook because you'll need to turn your video on.
Okay. How's it going, guys?
Hey, Kurt, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Thank you.
How you been today?
It's been good. It's a nice Wisconsin day here, and so what better to do than learn about web design and what you guys are doing. So
we
good stuff.
Appreciate you jumping on. One more thing I was going to mention about the Shopify. Great thing that Shopify did that nobody else has done is they have the ability to incorporate apps. So let's just say you have a website that sells vegetables, right? And one of my clients does this. He sells vegetables. He can put in an app that connects to Amazon where the products would drop ship from Amazon. He takes the order on his website. It processes through the Amazon app. Amazon ships it to the customer. It is then deducted from his bill and pays Amazon. So he makes his money, Amazon makes their money, everybody's happy. And all he needs to do is promote his site, which once set up correctly by Pro Web Firm, he doesn't have to do a whole lot once he promotes. I mean, you need to promote your site so people know where it is and where to find it, but the maintenance of it is not a whole lot of maintenance. He doesn't have any products. He doesn't have the vegetables sitting in the refrigerator or in a storage room. Amazon does. That's Amazon's problem. And so he just needs to make sure that app is updated. Well, that would be our job. Make sure that app is updated so it communicates back and forth to both. keeps track of the stock, the price. You can change the price at any time. So you have a wholesale price coming in of say $15. Your markup price is $25. Your retail price, and so you got a $10 profit. And so it keeps all the billing and math and all that good stuff. It is, and that's just one app, but they have a ton of apps to incorporate into the Shopify platform that make it seamless and easy for the person owning the site to run it, and then for the end user to use it. Awesome, 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 awesome stuff.
I know Shopify has definitely been growing by leaps and bounds and pushing their services through lots of advertisements. They even have Mr. Beast advertising for them nowadays.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, what's your take on responsive design and its importance?
Responsive design. Well, let's talk about what that is. First of all, responsive just means that it will work on any device. And what I mean by that is it'll look just as good on a desktop and a laptop and a tablet and even a phone screen. Because what happens is it used to be, I would say 5 years ago, it used to be 20% of people were searching online through their mobile phone. So it wasn't a big deal if your website didn't look very good on a mobile phone because there wasn't that many people looking at it then. But what happened is, as we all know now, with the advancements of phone technology, and they became lower in price, just like everything. When the iPhone first came out, it was $5,000. Now it's you can get one and add $10 to your bill, right? So people got these great devices, and now I think the statistic has switched completely. 80% or more people are searching online with their mobile phone. So if your website only looks good on a computer, on a desktop or a laptop, and it doesn't have responsive design, then it's not going to look good on a mobile phone, and people aren't going to they're going to do what we call in the industry, they're going to bounce, which means they come to your website and they leave within seconds. That's called bouncing. They go back to Google. And that's actually, if somebody bounces from your website, which means they don't spend very much time, Google knows that. And that's part of their algorithm, that if your people are not staying on your site, well, they're not going to keep showing you in those prime search spots. Versus if somebody spends a lot of time on your site. So just by having a responsive design can actually help boost your ratings in the search engines. What I do, a nice thing, like I said before, I use WordPress with Elementor. And Elementor is just a page builder. And in Elementor, you can set custom page breaks. So sometimes I'll even have 4 different breaks. And what I mean is that shows different sizes of screens. So I'll even do, because nowadays people are searching the web on their TVs. So I'll do a wide screen so it'll look good on a TV, a little bit narrower so it'll look good on a regular computer or a laptop. Do one for tablets and one for, mobile devices or phones nowadays.
Tom, let me jump in there and ask you this for our people watching. Does that mean that you're building 3 different sites?
Well, it used to be you had a mobile version or you had AMP, but AMP's Google pushed AMP for a long time, but they're not really doing that as much. And it wasn't really mobile, but no, what happens is you build a site. I build it usually just on a regular screen on my computer screen here. I got a couple monitors and I build it first for that, and then it's really easy. You just click on it. Just got these little icons for when you're trying to adjust the responsiveness that I can go to. And then let's say here's a good example. Let's say on a website, I have 4 images next to each other. Okay, they're using up 25% width of the screen. When I go to tablet, I don't want them to look 4 in a row, so I'll change that to 50%. So it shows them side by side in 2 columns.
Yep.
Or 2 rows in 2 columns. And then when it goes to mobile device, I just change it to 100%. So you just see 1 and 1 and 1. So then now we've got 4 of them all in a line as you scroll. So really it's all about kind of changing the percentage of the column. And that's how I use it anyway with Elementor, is you just change that percentage of column on how much they're showing up. So I don't have to build this, I don't have to recreate the site like we used to.
Yeah,
We used to have
as
to
we-
do that, but not
yeah.
anymore. There's a lot of technology. It just makes it really easy to adjust. And once you get it there, you do have to check a few different devices. I
Yeah.
like to. There's some
Yeah.
software where you can make sure on the Chrome browser and on Android and the iOS systems. And so you make sure it looks good everywhere, because responsiveness is not just mobile devices, it's also the different browsers
Yeah.
that people are using. Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Firefox. I use Firefox myself just because that's what I like.
Yeah.
But I always have to test it on Chrome, and I got to
And
test it on
Safari.
Edge. Yep. Well,
Don't go there, huh? That's a shot to you Mac users.
that's right. That's right.
But we get that all the time, Tom, where somebody will build their site for them, and the second it's built, they're looking at it on their phone. They go, "This don't look right on the phone." I go, "Just be cool, be cool. We built the site. We just need to do a little tweak or so for your cell phone or mobile device. Just be cool." But that's when you're first building. You build one way and then you modify for the others.
There has been a few projects, and this used to be a real kind of a big term, but not so much anymore. But mobile first, that's when we used to have to build multiple versions of the site. So they would build a mobile, we'd build the mobile site first and then the desktop. But not anymore. I usually build on desktop first.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Mark, we've been talking a lot about web design and stuff, and I said that I work with contractors, people in the skilled trades primarily. What kind of customers do you serve?
Man, whew. We get a lot of startups. Well, we used to get a lot of startups, people, starting a new business. And I mean, when I say starting a new business, I mean from complete scratch. Like they're just registering their name with the state. They're starting to build a little business credit, and they need a logo, business cards, website, domain, everything. So we used to get a lot of those. Now we're getting a lot of people that already have an established business, say 5 years, 10 years, but their site isn't getting them the kind of traffic they want, and they want to rebrand. So we'll get the rebranding clients. We get a ton of them more so now. Our tagline used to be, if you don't have a website, then you're not in business. Well, now we assume you do have a website. It just needs to be redone. And some people have a website and they've had it for like 10 years, 15 years. And we're like, it needs to be redone. So we'll get that rebranding client and completely do everything. We'll completely start off with designing the logo. Once we get the logo, we brand it and do the business cards, we'll do the flyers, and we do print and ship out all over the US. So we'll design their business cards to match their website. We'll do their Zoom background. We even do coffee mugs. I wish I had one on my desk, but I don't. We'll do the coffee mugs. We even do the shirts with their logo on it. We do send that out to Jerry Hamm over at Fraternal Regalia. That's my brother. He does monogramming, embroidery. But anyway, we do a good chunk of both new, starting out from scratch, or rebranding. Great question, Tom. Well, you would think I wrote that question. Hey, Tom, let me ask you this. Do you worry about like security with your website? Like, people have you build their website. Do they ever say, well, how are you going to secure it? What if somebody gets in the back end? Because with WordPress or WooCommerce, there is that security issue. How do you address that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's a big concern because websites are getting hacked all the time by people wanting to spam. They'll hack your website and you won't even know it. Your website will look the same and they'll just have some invisible links on there that is directing people to a different spam sometimes pornographic websites. I mean, it's just crazy what people will do. And the concerns with that, some different things that I use is really simple things. Just making sure that you have some sort of a like Cloudflare, WordFence, something to that just kind of is a security. It checks the browser before they come to your site. I also like to make sure that my customers are using secure passwords. I can't, they say the most popular password is password 123. Duh, don't use that. I mean, or don't use your name or your son's name. In fact, you shouldn't even be using any word you can find in the dictionary. And I'm going to give you guys a tip here. And this is one that you want, if you haven't been writing notes, you want to write a note on this one because this is really important. Is that when you come up with a password, I got a great way. It's easy to remember and it really makes it super secure. So what you do is you come up with a phrase that means something to you, a set of words like, oh, let's say, I did a web design seminar with Marc Hamm on September 16th. And what you do is you use, proper capitalization and you use the first letter of each of those words of that phrase and maybe one full one, like maybe you use September in full and you go right through and you use the numbers. And if you're using that first letter of every word, it's easy to remember. I did a web design seminar with Marc Hamm on September 16th of 2023. Okay, so that's, you write it down and you use the first letter of each of those in proper. So with Marc Hamm would be capital M, capital H, right? I for in, and then maybe September written out, properly capitalized. So if you do that, it makes it super hard for anybody to come up with that because those letters don't mean anything when you just use that first letter of each of those words. It doesn't mean anything to anybody else, only to you, and it makes it really easy for you to remember, to internalize that. And then you can even write out the phrase and you didn't write out your password. People still don't know. Even if you write out that phrase, I did a web design seminar with Marc Hamm on September 16, 2023. Well, that's not my password, but my password is IDWW, capital M, capital H, September 12, 2023. So that is a great way. And that's what I try to teach and coach my customers, the owners of the website, to create their password that way. So just by doing that one thing, creating a very strong password will keep out 99% of all your spammers. The other thing that I really like to do too is if I know that my customer is going to have a super high volume, let's say they come to me and they're already generating, thousands of visitors per month. What I will do is I will actually, in WordPress, it's always, domain.com/WP-admin. That's how you get to the login page, right? Well, that's where spammers or hackers, that's what they're typing in to try to log into your page. And then they'll just, they'll force it and they'll try to come up with your password. But if you just change that, which is not that hard to do, you can find a widget. If you don't know how to do it, you can just add a little plugin to your site and it will actually change your login page. So it's not /WP-admin. So there's two simple things that I like to do to stop people from being able to hack a site, to keep a site secure.
That's good stuff, man. Especially when you're doing WordPress, you need every trick in the book to, kind of get these hacker people to have to think about it before they try to get in there.
And I want to add one more thing onto this with security is, and a lot of people don't even think about it, but Google's really starting to give errors on this saying, hey, this site is not secure because they don't have what is called an SSL, which is a Secures Socket Layer Certificate, SSL certificate. And you can tell if your page has that or not because it'll say HTTPS. That S is a security. That's that secure socket layer. So if your page doesn't have an S, it'll actually show a little padlock with a circle and an X through it, crossing it saying your page is not secure. And if it's not secure, if you don't have that simple SSL certificate, you lose trust. Google will actually tell them, hey, warning, this site is not secure. Don't go to it. And they'll try to get you to go back and not even let people go to your site. So that's another way.
They also rank your site lower when it does not have an SSL certificate. And ranking is everything. If you have a low ranking, you're definitely not coming up in the search engines at the top. And it's just like when you go to your bank online, if you look up in the left-hand corner, it'll be green and it'll have HTTPS. Tom, I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about how we know each other, so people understand as we kind of wind down with 7 minutes left on the clock. I feel like I'm in an NBA game, and we down by 4 and we drawing up the play in the huddle. Me and Tom, we met through HNP, and HNP is the Happy Neighborhood Project, which we both belong to. And Happy Neighborhood Project is a worldwide networking group. And Kurt Roscoff, who's on, is also a member of HNP. HNP started a couple years ago with one weekly event, and we will all go to that one event, network, pass referrals, get ideas, grow our businesses through this one networking event. And HNP grew, and it grew into over 50 events a week. And so they're in the East Coast, they're in the West Coast, they're in different countries, different time zones. Like Kurt is in Wisconsin, Tom is in Detroit, Michigan, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. We all go to different networking events. And that's basically how we met. And Tom, I'll let you give your version of it.
Yeah, I started my company. I resigned from my corporate job. I was a senior manager on March 8th of 2020. Started my business, Bartholomew Media Group, on March 9th. And then March 10th, we all know what happened then. The country shut down, right? So I had to find a place to network online, and I found this great organization called HNP, and they had a Michigan room. I believe Michigan was the second room after California.
Yeah.
So I was going there, and that's when we first met. And I remember going there, and there was just tons of networking opportunities with HNP, and it was growing. And yeah, I just have been kind of coming back ever since. It's been a big part of me growing my business and through the networking that HNP provides.
Yeah. Kurt, how about you and HNP?
Well, through doing live streaming, somebody who's working on our live streaming stuff with me told me about one of the co-hosts, John Morley out of New Jersey. And so it became about, go check out what John's doing. So I went to one of these happy business networking sessions, and I got hooked right away. That was 3 years ago, August 2020. And through guys like yourselves, I was able to network like crazy and grow my network by a few thousand people directly. It's just a phenomenal process and very personal. It's not just running through and just, run to the next one and superficial. It's, you kind of have a deep connection. I feel I know you guys very well. And it's thanks to the Happy Neighborhood Project. I can't say enough about the role it's played for the work I'm doing and for personal to be able to develop. I feel like this is like Schoolhouse Rock. We're here on a Saturday, learning away.
Yeah. It gives us a certain sense of security as well. I know without shadow of a doubt what these guys can do and their integrity. And so when I go to pass a referral, I have no problem saying, hey, call Tom, man, and take care of you on that SEO, it's just having a Rolodex of colleagues that you are very familiar with their products and services. It's, you're able to pass on a referral, or you're able to get some help and collaborate on a project like Tom and I are doing today. We just thank H&P for having a platform where we can excel, network, and I won't even get into making dollars or referral dollars off of passing referrals. It's just a win-win situation. Tom, anything else you thought of that we forgot today?
Well, there's all sorts. We'll get into more of that on our next. We'll do these monthly. Mark and I will be running these webinars monthly, so tune in. We got all sorts of great information. We'll talk about more, get in more depth on how you can SEO on your page and all sorts of stuff. But I want to say one thing about HNP that I really love is it's free first and foremost,
Mhm.
and there's over 50 meetings every week. So you can find one that fits your schedule and your needs. So a lot of them are location based, but there's also like pet lovers and entrepreneurs and B2B. And like you said, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, California, Carolinas, Caribbean, Australia. So you can find one that fits your needs almost any day of the week. Even now on Saturdays, we have a weekend one. So
Yep, and it's coming up at
if you
12,
haven't joined
12
HNP,
p.m.
you need to do that for sure.
Yep, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is H&P Weekend coming up, hosted by yours truly. Before we get out of here, just want to thank Kurt for coming out, showing your support, man. We appreciate that as always. And Tom, please give them your 60-second spiel of your business, and I'll do the same to close out. But you up first, Tom.
All right. Well, you can see right there, allbmg.com will forward you right over to my main website, and it gives you all the information. I got WooCommerce set up there so you can actually, I list my prices just because I like to be upfront and honest. I don't like to try to hide anything. And yeah, again, I work for contractors, people in the skilled trade, especially roofers. So if you're a roofer, give me a call. Let's see how I can help you generate more leads.
All right, y'all, and I'm Marc Hamm with Pro Web Firm, where we do custom web design, logos, business cards, do all kind of branding to get you looking right. And then we help you market your business through either pay-per-click ads or EDDM, which is short for Every Door Direct Mail, which we're working on right now for a roofer. Isn't that funny? Anyway, been in business for a while, and we just give great customer service, and we love what we do. We love to help people take idea through fruition, get them out there and publicize in a nice graphic way their business and their dreams. I'm Marc Hamm and Tom Bartholomew. Today, this is our web design seminar, which we will be doing once a month from here on out. We do thank you for tuning in and learning all about web design and some of the things that we do. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to us. You can go to Tom's site, and as soon as it flashes back around, I'll say it all. It's all what, Tom?
All BMG, which is Bartholomew Media Group, allbmg.com. Super easy.
Or you can go to prowebfirm.net or prowebfirm.com. Doesn't matter. It's the same great, same business. All right, y'all, that's our time. We got to get on out of here. We got bills to pay, babies to kiss, and other things to do. And that's just Tom.
That's right.
Anyway, hey, we thank y'all for coming out. Marc Hamm, Tom Bartholomew, Web Design Seminar, and peace out to the HNP crew. Going over to HNPABC.com, and we're going to drop those links on social media, on Facebook. And if you're watching this for the first time on my YouTube channel, hey, come back again. We got plenty more content for you. We're going to be doing this on a regular. Peace out, everybody. Stay safe. Have a great day. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Kurt. Have a good one.
Thanks
All right.
for watching.
Peace.